Hello everybody, welcome to another game of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. This is my Bretonnian army against an Ogre Kingdom army, which you have probably seen in games in the past that I've put up here. On my far right, his far left, we've got a unit of bulls with some iron guts behind him, another unit of 3 bulls with his BSB and his general tyrant with him. He's got a giant, I don't remember if that's a slave giant or not, whatever. To the left of the giant is a scrap launcher. Then he's got another unit of bulls with a butcher, 2 Rhinox riders, bulls with lead belchers behind him, and a unit of Noblars. So facing him, I've got small block of Knights Errant, big block of Knights Errant with the Errantry banner. I went for a different setup this time. There on the right, I've got a Paladin on a Royal Pegasus, and then I've got a unit of 5 Questing Knights, and then another Paladin on a Royal Pegasus. I've got a block of 9 Knights of the Realm, with my BSB, my Lord level character on horse, and there's a damsel. So there's actually 12 in that unit, even though there's only 9 Knights of the Realm. So what I thought I'd try here is the Paladin on the left, on the Royal Pegasus, he's got the virtue of audacity. So against things that are really high strength, let's say strength of 5 or higher, I get to re-roll my rolls to hit and my rolls to wound. And so with a lance, I'm charging on a strength 6 with all those re-rolls. I should have a pretty good chance of getting a lot of wounds in. The one on the right has the virtue of heroism, so he has killing blow on large targets. So my idea was to put those two guys together and dual charge things. They can't be in the same unit, but there's nothing stopping them from dual charging. So I thought that would sound fun. My BSB is kitted out to be high combat res. The unit has war banner. He's got the virtue of +1 combat res. And my general is combat heavy. So there's my customized Grail Relic behind the hill. I've got Fast Cav. There to the right of the screen, I've got my 17 Skirmishing Archers, Trebuchet on the hill, and on my far left, I've got a unit of 3 Pegasus Knights. So he decides to let me go first. That hill in the middle is really kind of a hassle because he's kind of hiding behind it, and I kind of need to go around the hill, or else I'm going to be in trouble. I can't go on the hill because if I do, he'll charge me. So I kind of swing things around on the right, move up a little bit, grab the hill with my Grail Relic, put my 2 Paladins on the hill. I just want to get line of sight for the Rhinox or for the Giant. I don't really care which one he goes after. I need to take care of both of them. On the lower left-hand corner, you can see I brought my Pegasus Knights from the far left over. Really what I was doing is putting my Peasants on the far left, and then I was going to pretty much just abandon that. If he wants to come all the way across the board to get my Trebuchet, I'd let him. Of course, with those Pegasus Knights, I have the option to go back over there. So another look on this side of the board. So I take the Trebuchet, hurl a rock at the Rhinox Riders. I get a full hit on the one on the right, a partial on the one on the left, and I was unable to wound on the partial, but on the other one I was able to wound, and I ended up doing 4 wounds on them. And those guys have 5 or 6. So I was happy to take them down a little bit. I was kind of hoping I would be able to kill one, have him flee off the board or something. So we go to Ogres turn 1, and I forgot to take any pictures. Great job. So Bret turn 1. He obviously had moved his unit of bulls up and had shifted his iron guts over, and so I charged the bulls. He fled. He was hoping to get behind his iron guts. Obviously didn't make it. I think even if he had, he would not have been able to reach me. So he probably should have maybe moved his guys a little farther up to begin with. On my move, I definitely should have moved my big block up a lot higher. And I'm wondering if maybe I dual charged those bulls and I just don't remember doing it. This game was several days ago. But my guess is I dual charged them, and that's the reason I hung back so much, because I would have been in a much better position had I moved the Knights Errant up a lot further. Anyway, you can see I moved the other guys. You can see I'm missing a Knight of the Realm in the lower left-hand corner. He must have got it off on magic. And this whole game, I kept forgetting that my damsel gives me magic resistance 1, and I know for a fact I never used it all game. Anyway, my Paladins, if you look at the topmost hill, they charged his... I didn't charge the Rhinox because his bulls were guarding me. I was in their front arc, and there was no room for me there. And I couldn't see the Giant, so what I did was just charged his scrap launcher. Oh, I take that back. The whole thing about magic I take back. He killed a knight with his scrap launcher. I got really lucky, didn't kill more. Anyway, so I charged it, it fled, he got away. I'm out of anybody's charge arc, so I'm safe, and now I can kind of fly behind his lines and line up an attack on that giant. And on this side of the board, I took my Pegasus Knights, flew them back to my left, just to slow him down over here with a threatened charge. My Trebuchet, I aim again at the Rhinox Riders, hit him again, and again I do no damage to one, but I end up killing the other one, so it's nice to get one of those things off the board. So, Ogres turn 2, his bulls that had fled my charge continue to flee. They're right at the edge of the board. Otherwise, you can see how he moves his Iron Guts up a little bit. He's hanging back with his bulls behind the hill with his BSB. He takes his Tyrant out of that unit and faces my Knights. So it just kind of takes an area away that I can't settle down in, but that's fine. I was planning on sweeping over to the right anyway. He takes his remaining Rhinox and now turns towards the center, and that's a pretty key move because, again, I'm having trouble getting over that hill so I can start doing some stuff, and now he's threatening the gap between the hills, and I need to find a way to take care of that. On this side of the board, he does a good job of moving his Lead Belchers over, so now I can't really charge his bulls, and if I charge the Lead Belchers, I'm going to have to face a stand and shoot, which doesn't concern me too awful much. Those guys, you know, it's pretty random what they can do. So there's another up-close shot of his Tyrant and his Butcher both facing my Paladins. So Bret turn 3. I can't reach that unit of Iron Guts with my big block of Knights Errant, so I go ahead and charge with my small block. I don't really love that. I'm not sure how much the odds are in my favor there. But regardless, that's what I did. I brought my Paladins from the hill. They're in the top middle facing his giant. There in the middle of the board, took my Questy Knights right at his Rhinox, daring him to charge me. If he doesn't charge me, I'm going to charge him. If I get the charge with those guys, I'm comfortable with it. If he charges me, I plan on fleeing and then countercharging with my with everything else. I took my General and BSB out of my Knight of the Realm unit because there was a chance he could see them and just charge right between those two units. I didn't want to take the chance of having them in there. So if he charges my Knight of the Realm unit, I'm going to flee with them and then countercharge with my General BSB, and likely, if that were to happen, he would get into contact with my Relic, and I'm okay with that too. So this side of the board, I take my Pegasus Knights on the left, I charge his Lead Belchers, he does a stand and shoot, does 2 wounds, kills one of them, I pass my panic test, and I get in combat with them. And I do 1 wound, he does 2, he wins, and chases me. So in this combat, I did 1 or 2 wounds on his oh, what are these guys? They're not bulls, they're Iron Guts. I did either 1 or 2, he does 1 back, and again, I don't know what I was thinking there, because I think odds are I did about what I should have done, and now I'm in trouble because his giant's right there, and plus I just don't want to be locked in combat with those guys. So on his turn, he tried to charge his giant into the Knights Errant. He declared the charge, and then he realized that he was actually in their front arc. He wasn't in their flank arc, and there was no room for him to be in the front arc. So that resulted in a failed charge and was hugely helpful for me. His Rhinox charged my Questy Knights like I thought he would. I fled. They fled through my Knights Errant, and they promptly failed their panic test and fled as well. So if you look at the rightmost, coming from the rightmost corner of the board, I thought that was a pretty cool picture of what the battlefield looked like. So this guy I'm playing is a really, really good tactician when it comes to, I guess, what you consider guerrilla tactics. And he's winning the fight of making me get in combats with little units, and he's doing pretty well with them. And now with this big block fleeing, I'm not going to be able to bring my combat res to the table anytime soon. But I'm looking at some counter charges to his Rhinox, and if I can do that with where he has his Tyrant, I might even be able to get lucky and maybe get an overrun into him. So we'll see how that works in the next segment.